Hello, everyone. I am so excited today to introduce my Guruji, who I met a few years back, and I am part of his school that he has, virtual school, Rudra Vedic Academy, and I am learning under my Guruji. And today I have invited him to share his knowledge with all of you. His name is Navneet Chitkara. He has been doing this for many, many years. He used to be in the corporate world, and he has helped thousands and thousands of people with Jyotish. And his knowledge in Jyotish is so deep and so profound that it has changed so many lives. And I am so happy to share his knowledge with all of you. Our purpose today is to really spread Jyotish in the Western part of the world in English, so we can reach the audience that doesn't really know Jyotish or may not understand some of his videos that he has, and he has tons of videos. If you understand Hindi, check it out. It's amazing. But today we want to launch a series of videos for all the people who want to learn what Jyotish is. And today we'll start with what Jyotish is so you can understand. And then there'll be many, many more videos explaining a lot of different topics so you can help yourself understand your life purpose through your birth chart. So without any further ado, I'd like you to introduce my Guruji. Guruji, please take it away and enlighten us with your knowledge.
Thank you so much, Nandita ji. It's an honor to be here. And see, my journey has been a very, very beautiful journey. After coming and doing a lot of work in corporate, I suddenly realized that, hey, it is time to dig in, right, within yourself and try to understand real purpose of life. And then when Jyotish came in my life, and I thank so many people, my gurus, who have been nourishing me with this deep knowledge. Pandit Sanjay Raji, Arjun Pai ji, these people have been around me and guiding me. And then obviously my parents, their wishes and love of each one of you, out here has made me go so deep into this beautiful science. See, every time I try to understand Jyotish, right, every time I pick up a new book or a new article or a new discussion in Jyotish, it gives me something new. Every time something new comes up, right? And I'm sure about it. So this is the beauty of this science. And this video is not only for the beginners, but this video is also for the people you know who are already practicing Jyotish, because I'm sure from this video they will learn something new which they have not discovered in the past. Because every time I go back to the basics, everything is same, but something new comes up every time. So that is where Jyotish becomes like a fragrance. Every time there's something new comes up with the old one. uh, See, the other thing is that when I started, understanding Jyotish, I've got very basic definitions of Jyotish as, Jyotish, the word Jyotish and Ish, is separated, and Jyoti is the light, and Ish is the Ishwar, which is God, right? So it is the light of the God, right? Then it is the eyes of the Vedas. So these were the basic definitions that I've, we've read and we've heard, from different people. But to my understanding, the best definition of the Jyotish is cannot be said if we take the word Jyotish alone. Okay, so it is Jyotish Shastra. Okay, so when we understand Shastra basically in Hindu system or Vedic system means, it is a tool, okay, or it is a weapon, right? So weapon is a little negative word. The right word is a tool. Even a weapon is also a tool, right, which is used for either protecting or killing, right, or saving, right? So that tool that helps you to understand your life, right, is
Right.
Jyotish, according to me, right? But there are certain tools from which we can understand our life, right? There are certain sciences They are mystical sciences through which we can understand the situation of a person. But when it comes to scientifically understanding, a life, right, or a life force around you, that is the real meaning of Jyotish. Right? Prediction is a very small part, which people think, hey, Jyotish is all about predicting things. But
Yeah.
no, Jyotish is understanding every single aspects from your physical body to your mental plane to your plane at the soul level, right? Understanding the clutter inside our mind, the understanding the clutter inside the body and outside the body. That is what Jyotish is all about, right? Because whenever there is a light, or whenever we come out of a darkness, the only thing that we can see is to see something. Okay,
Right.
so when
Yeah.
we see something, that means we are trying to understand what we are looking at. And Jyotish is a tool, a scientific tool through which we can look inside as well as the outside. So that means the circumstances around you and circumstances inside you, right?
So
That's
true.
what is Jyotish all about. So there are different techniques that we use, that Muni Parashara and various other munis have given us. So I'll try and explain you one by one, that these are the different tools. For an example, at a very first level, at an astrological level, okay, we understand, you know inside and outside through planets, grahas, that we just we've got 9 planets, out of which 7 are the planets that physically appear in the universe, and 2 are the chaya grahas, the shadow planets, known as
Right.
Rahu and Ketu. We'll discuss
So,
in detail
yeah.
about these grahas in the coming lessons that we are going to do. uh, Now then, at a lower level there are planets, and then we have rashis, and then we have nakshatras. In Jyotish, the constellations, the study of the stars, is called the study of the nakshatras. And every nakshatra has a pattern. Every nakshatra has specified number of stars, in the sky, and those combinations have certain meanings to it, right? Those combinations have certain energies that are affecting a particular human life, or even at the mundane level also. So will be, that is at the astrological level. And each planet and each graha is also associated with the parts of the body, right?
True.
And so with those parts, we also understand medical Jyotish, medical astrology, right? So trying to understand different diseases, trying to understand different ailments in the body, or different pains that you get in the
Right.
body, or the sufferings that you get because of the body, known as diseases. And some are called karam rogas, which has come from our past life. So when we talk about past life, right, the new birth that we get, right, as per Jyotish, is divided into 2 parts. One is the parihara. Okay, parihara is the remedial science. Okay, and the second one is prashchita. Okay, the prashchita means trying to realize that what have you done in the past. That is the real meaning. All right, so
Right.
if you've taken birth here, we have taken birth here for the prashchita, right? The
Right.
word prashchita means that if you have made a mistake yesterday, and if you can realize it today and try to overcome that mistake, that is the real meaning of the life,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that prashchita is what God has sent us for,
Right. To
right?
apply what we've already learned. And
you
yeah.
know and how the suffering is coming is, if we look at some combinations in the charts, okay, or if there is a problem in your life, first of all we'll have to understand that which planet is giving that problem,
Right.
right? And what is the combination, in a kundli or a horoscope Vedic chart, which is giving you a problem. And you'll be able to easily realize that that problem is basically coming because either you have not given attention to that aspect of life in the past, or even in this life, because of which you are in trouble. So
Right.
once you start giving that attention to that particular combination, after meeting a guru or an astrologer, he makes you understand, hey, this is the problem, right? This is coming from the past because you did not had any attention, you did wrong about something at this aspect of life or this aspect of life. So then probably you understand that, and then you do the prashchita, and then there are pariharas, remedial signs. Okay, so these are not called remedies. You should call this as a remedial science, because
Right.
until and understand until and unless you don't understand why are you doing a parihara or why are you doing a prashchita, it doesn't make any sense,
Right.
right? Even if you're doing a remedy, it should have some logic, some science,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
It's like what
that
they say, you have to know what the problem is in order for you to solve the problem. So you can't do the remedy
absolutely.
until you understand. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like we've got the vaccines in COVID, so we'll have to understand the virus first, right? And then why are we giving those booster shots and everything? We'll have to scientifically and logically understand it. So all the remedies are basically scientific remedies, which have over the period of time has actually gone at a very low level, because the
Right.
understanding of the Jyotish was very little, and people who practice Jyotish, they may just read few books and then they launch themselves as an astrologers. See, just by reading few books about kidney, you do not become a nephrologist, right? So if you
Right.
understand how kidney works, right, and how and what where is the kidney in the body, I mean, this is taught in the 10th standard also, okay, in the high school as well. But I mean, just by understanding the functionality of the kidney, you do not become the nephrologist. It takes much longer study to become a nephrologist, right?
Right.
So that is what difference is in, that makes with an astrologer who's a very learned astrologer, right?
Yes.
That is why I took the names of few people in the beginning. These were few people who lit that light, and given that the once this small light is now become a fire. Okay,
Right.
so that is how the things start, and then the different pariharas or the remedies, for an example, how Jyotish is associated with is like donations, charities. That is
Right.
now these are the shastras, that means these are the tools.
Right.
Okay, so different sort of donations are there, charities are there, and then there are certain times for donating. There's a particular time on which you
Right.
should donate a particular thing. There is a particular nakshatra in which you should donate. What time during the day or a
Right.
night you should do the
Right.
donation. And then there are mantras, right, which is like a seed frequency, right, which is
Right.
called beej mantras. Every graha is running with a speed, with a frequency, giving out vibrations.
Right.
Okay, and the rishis, the munis, the sages have, through their meditational skills, they have identified those vibrations and written them into mantras. So when we do a bija mantra or a tantric mantra or a Vedic mantra, we connect with that energy, and we take
Right.
that energy, and that energy help us to navigate through that particular situation in our life,
Right. Right.
right? That is the, yeah, yeah,
And that is the most beautiful part about Vedic astrology, right? Because it's very precise. And
yes,
even in the remedial solutions, it's also very precise.
yes,
You're going after the root cause, the root
right,
problems, and fixing it, not just randomly doing some remedies or randomly understanding that that could be a solution. And that's why I fell in love with it when I first started, which was not so long ago. I'm
right,
purely a student, and there's
yeah,
so much more to learn.
yeah,
But you know, it's beautiful
yeah,
to me
yeah,
and help me really understand my life. It's the insight, it's the looking insight, and
yeah.
really understanding how um, we're supposed to be and what is the purpose.
Yeah, and
You
the
know,
mantra means, man antra. That means you go inside your mind through a particular
Yes.
vibration that you chant or recite. And when you go inside, you realize, oh, there is peace in here, which I never realized. There's a lot of peace
Yes.
inside. So you realize your inner peace.
Yes.
Mantra is like your inner engineering, right? you
Yes.
you engineer yourself internally, and if you get a specific mantra based on the energies in your chart, that is the most beautiful way. I mean, that is the accurate medicine that you can get. And then there
Yes.
are dashavatara mantras also. Each graha is associated with the 10 incarnations of Vishnu, right, which are given in the shastras. And these 10 incarnations of Vishnu is nothing but it is evolution of the mankind in the different forms,
Yes.
taking different lessons, right? So there
Yeah.
are, so beside mantras and donations, there are several other practical remedies that are also available, like going to different temples, right, or holy places. Try to
Yes.
understand the energy. See, every horoscope, every chart has certain nakshatras and energies of certain nakshatras, and nakshatras have places associated with them, temples
Correct.
associated, various incarnations of Vishnus has been associated. Adityas, which is called the Suryas, the
Yeah.
12 different forms of Suryas. Every month Surya enters a new sign, which is there in
Yeah.
the Western astrology as well. So that
Right.
means Surya is wearing a new dress every month,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
when you
And
wear
there's
a
an
new dress,
associated God
yeah,
with that
yeah,
each month.
there's an associated gods with them. So you understand those, right? And then you visit certain places and certain times in certain nakshatras can really change your life.
Yeah.
That's what is Jyotish all about. That's about, engineering your outer circumstances and your inner circumstances, right?
Right.
So then there are, understanding Navagraha Suktam, okay, which is you understand the, planets at the physical plane, how they are affecting, and then how they are affecting at the mental plane, and then how
Yeah.
they are affecting at the soul plane, right? So
Right.
there are information about devatas and adi devatas and prata adi devatas. Okay, so different forms at mental level, at physical level, and at
Right.
the soul level, right?
Right.
So this, to understand this, is Jyotish. Okay.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then there are certain techniques and tools that have been, associated with fasting. People
Right.
fast, right? So there has been importance of fasting on particular days like Ekadashis and Purnimas, right? And Chaturthi. So there are so many fasts and they have significance. To
Yes.
understand those fasting techniques can
Yeah.
definitely enhance your life, right?
Yeah.
Then there are color therapies. So I'm talking about pariharas right now, techniques, tools,
Yeah.
shastras,
Tools.
right? So there are different color therapies, wearing particular colors on a particular occasion, on a particular day. Why, a groom in India or a bride, they are dressed in certain dresses like red or, white, if you
Yeah.
have a white wedding, so you dress white. What is the significance? You will find it in the Jyotish, the
Yes.
significance of different colors. And then there are gemstones and alternate gemstones, which is ratan and upratna. That is also a parihara. There is a science behind wearing a particular gemstone, and that can, work on the energies, right? And
Yeah.
then they give you a better decision making ability,
Right.
right? And then there are certain rudrakshas. Understanding the science of the rudraksha is also Jyotish.
Right.
Yes. Because that is, again, it deals with inner engineering. Okay, so Jyotish is just not light of God. It is about fasting, colors, gemstones, rudrakshas. And then there are certain pariharas or tools which are explained in the shastras very clearly, is about removing the physical clutter of your home. For an example, if you have so many electronic goods that you're not using, then you've kept as an antique, it is Rahu, which
Right.
increases so much of Rahu energy. For an example, if you have so many triangular things at your home, something like a table is a triangular table, or a window is a triangular shape, or a lot of things are in triangular shape, that means there's a lot of energy of Ketu, because triangular is like a flag,
Flag.
right? So
Right.
there's a lot of Ketu. If you have so many curtains at your home, so curtain is a Rahu. Okay, so if you have so many curtains at your home, right, everywhere you've got blinds and curtains, you have enhanced so much of Rahu.
And mirrors too, right?
Right, right. So
Right.
again, so that is again a parihara. To understand those things is also Jyotish. Okay.
Right.
Then there are numbers that are associated with Jyotish known as numerology. Okay.
Right.
The science of five elements which is associated with Jyotish is called as Vastu. Right.
Right.
Vastu means Vas. Vas means to stay inside a particular place and try to
Place.
understand the energy. When I look at a chart, I just clearly tell a person, hey, I'm sure that 100%, 200 meters from your home there is a temple or a church, right? And they
Right.
say, yes, how do you know that, Guruji? And then I tell them that, hey, you're residing in this facing home. Your entrance is this direction and the main home is of this direction. Even there are combinations in the chart to understand where that person is living, right? I
Yeah.
can tell them that, hey, 1 kilometer towards the north you have a river. It is the combination is available in Jyotish. See,
Right.
scientifically we understand these things,
Right.
right? Understanding the directions. Then, from Jyotish we can also understand the nature of a person, the taste of a person, intelligence of a person through different rashis, you
Right.
know that they are in the lagna and various other locations. We'll understand what is the lagna, right? So it's all about inner engineering. What about the things that are inside, the clutter which is inside, right?
Right.
So we try to understand through Jyotish, right? And then there is chakra balancing, because the five major planets are also associated with the
With
chakras,
chakras. Yeah.
right? So the remove the clutter of the chakra so that we can activate those chakras. This is called chakras meditation, right?
Right.
Or meditating on different chakras is also associated with Jyotish,
Right.
right? How you can honor different energies that are working around you. To understand different energies, you can give very secret, charities also called Gupta Dan, which is the
Right.
biggest one, right? So there are certain dan or charities, which can help your chakras to improve, like Vidya Dan, which is the, helping someone to attain education.
Right.
Okay. Then there is Annadan, when you're feeding someone, maybe a
Right.
bird, or when you feed a particular bird or an animal, that is also associated with the nakshatra, giving you some sort of blessing, at and it is affecting some part of your life.
Right.
Okay. And then there is something called kanya dan. You can only do the kanya dan if you have an honor of having a daughter at home. I
Yeah.
consider people very lucky who have daughters. And if,
Yes.
if you have a daughter, and if you can do a kanya dan, means you can help that daughter get married, and you can arrange a good wedding. And then, there is a ceremony in Indian Vedic sciences where you do a kanya
Yes.
dan. The father
Yeah.
does it. I think that
Yes.
is the biggest dan that a soul can do, which is clearly mentioned in the Jyotish Shastra, right?
Yeah.
So all the animals, birds, flowers, spices, roots, trees, plants, they are all associated with the planets and Jyotish. When we
Yes.
plant a tree, when we plant a flower, when we keep an animal at home, right? How it is affecting your life, what kind of a karmic settlement which is happening. This is the
Right.
definition of the Jyotish. And then
Yeah.
there are various omens, rituals, signals that we get from Mother Nature. Even these, omens are clearly explained in the Jyotish Shastra,
Yes.
right? So technically, this is Jyotish, right? According to me. So I've been speaking on 15-20 minutes from last past 15-20 minutes just on the introduction of the Jyotish. So
Right.
tell me, how many aspects of life, picking up a glass from here to here can change something,
Right.
right? Changing the direction from where you're sitting, facing a particular direction, keeping a particular inner plant or indoor plants, right? Feeding particular birds or insects, right? That help you to relieve certain karmas. And
Yes.
if you can pick up the accurate activities that you can do, right?
Right.
Which is the guidance.
Right.
Okay.
It's,
Everything becomes, the way you want to be.
yeah. I think the perfect way that I can put it for a lot of people who are listening to this for the first time and trying to understand what Jyotish is that, going back to a very simple idea, or and something that we know, all of us know, is that every single action that you have results in some type of reaction.
Yes.
And you want that reaction to be a positive reaction on the
Yeah.
other end, whether it's through your physical action, your mental action, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
The response from a thing or an object or an animal or person that's receiving your action, their response should be positive. And that's what allows you to burn your karma and
Yeah.
do good deeds,
Yeah. And to
right?
understand those things, we have Jyotish.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And that's what really helped me the first time when you taught the classes in the beginning, understanding just simply the karma theory and what the fundamentals of Jyotish, that there's this concept of rebirth. The concept of karma is
Yeah.
the foundation of Jyotish astrology, right? Which helps us really understand, really just put things in perspective, how
Yes.
one should carry on with their life,
Right.
because there's
Right.
repercussions if you don't,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And when you know that, and when you have that understanding and you have that acceptance, I
Yeah.
think your whole perspective just changes automatically as a person.
Absolutely.
At that
Absolutely.
point, you don't even have to try. You just inherently are doing things with sort of this understanding that my actions affect things,
Yes. Yes.
and it
Yes.
changes your life. It did for
Absolutely.
me. It made a big difference
Yes.
in my life. And
Yes.
that's kind of like what I want to, um, help you reach so many more people in the Western part of the world and help them understand. Because for us, we've heard Jyotish, we've heard some concepts. Being
Yeah.
Indian, it's been in our blood. We've heard our grandparents, even if you don't practice it, uh, we're kind of exposed to it,
Yeah.
but a
So,
lot of people in the world are not exposed to it. It's so
right.
brand new for them.
Right.
And it's
Right.
amazing how this can help them,
Yeah.
here on the Western part of the world, people are focused on mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
They do the mind,
Yeah.
which is, they meditate and do this, and they do the body. They go to yoga classes and do all kinds of Reiki healing and all that. But the soul kind of gets ignored a little bit,
Yeah.
in the Western part of the world,
See, the body,
and I,
yeah, the body, mind, and soul is actually the Graha Suktam, which I've talked
yeah,
about.
yeah,
Right. So the basis, so if you understand the core, the epicenter, right, you can understand, you know, the devatas at the mind level, at the soul level, and at the physical level. Once you
yeah.
understand, you get the blessings of those devatas, right? It is the most beautiful thing. It will help you to improve in your life very quickly.
Yes, yes. And it's so true. It's so true. And just understanding um one's chart, the what you're dealt with, or what you're
Yeah,
given.
yeah,
I think the whole purpose is just to balance the whole chart,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
That is the game of life, is the ability to balance all aspects, right? I think
Yeah,
we tend to
see, from the
hyper
balance,
focus on one and then ignore the
yeah,
rest.
from the balance, I've come to know that, when Arjuna was, about to start the war, the fight against the Kauravas. So Arjuna had asked Krishna that, hey, Krishna, I'm gonna, fire all the bows and everything, and uh, I'm going to kill the people you've told me, and they are my cousins and brothers and gurus, right? What will you be doing here? Okay, so what is your role? I understand you've motivated me, you've made me understand the karma theory, you've made me understand Bhagavad Gita, but what
Yeah,
is your role in this war? And the only thing he said is that, on the chariot on which you're standing, I will make sure that the chariot is the balanced chariot.
yeah,
Okay, it
yeah.
doesn't move when
Mm.
you're pointing an arrow,
Right.
your base, I'll keep the balance, right?
Right.
So that means, he smiled while replying this answer. So whatever karma you do in your life, you can't control all the circumstances around you. You and I are not capable of controlling. So, there is a balance which Krishna or the God, makes around you. And the
Right.
only thing is to understand and realize that balance, right? Once
Right.
you start realizing that this balance is created, when you're in the deepest problems or the deepest trouble in your life, something comes up in some way,
Yeah.
that is actually what Krishna is doing for you, right? A
Right.
small ray of hope, a small suggestion or a small backup or a buckup, hey, go ahead, do it, right? I,
Yes.
I'm with you. Someone, even a friend or an unknown person comes and say, okay, go do it. I'm with you. I'm around you. And then you achieve things. That is
Right.
what actually is the energy of Krishna. He's given you that balance to now start moving ahead,
Right.
right?
Right.
And that
And
is
then
what is Jyotish all about, to understand that when and from where that energy will come.
right. And I think it's so important for people to understand, especially people who are not you know, are having challenges in their life. And the
Yeah,
challenges can be from anything, right? As simple as not being successful in your career, not knowing what you should do in your career, or how, what line of work you should be doing, personal challenges, relationship
yeah,
challenges, internal challenges. It's so important for people to understand their birth chart and see where the energy is flowing, see where the what part of lives that they need to balance in order to
yeah,
create success
yeah,
in other parts of their life. Because I think people don't understand, they just focus on the part that they want to be successful for, and
yeah,
that's probably the worst remedy, right? Because the remedy is actually
yeah,
go and balance these things that you're ignoring, and the energy will be balanced in your chart,
yeah,
and what you're hoping for, wishing for, will come,
yeah.
right?
A lot of people come and say, hey, Guruji, I need consultation from my career or from my marriage, or for my finances. But actually, I think they should call an astrologer to understand balance of their life, balance in the work,
Yes.
balance in the money, balance in their personal life, balancing all the five elements of the body. So it's all
Yeah,
about balance.
it's all about balance, because once you have that balance, even the balance that you create internally with peace and mantra and however way you get there with
Yeah,
meditation, or
yeah,
and the balance in the physical world that you
yeah,
live in,
yeah,
um, is also just as important, right? It's not just balancing everything that you're, all the balls that you have up in the
yeah,
air and
yeah,
keeping them up. It's also so much outside, um, focus is taken off the material things, and really the focus balancing in the inside is just as important,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
because until then all the balls are always up in the air and you're always in the
yeah,
fear of dropping them,
yeah,
right? That's our biggest fear, right? We
yeah,
live in a
yeah,
world where we're managing so many different things,
yeah,
and you know,
yeah, yeah. I
my
think
biggest
that
fear is like which part of
so.
my life I'm going to drop,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So
Right.
I think that will be the first lesson. Okay. And then
Thank
we'll come up with the second lesson where try and understand, what is the chart and different houses and Rashi slowly, try to make you understand your intelligence. How do we see intelligence of a person? How we see the mental traits of a person, physical traits of a person. So we'll come up
you.
with more lectures,
Yeah,
in the
this is
series.
great. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Thank you so much,
Thank you. Thank
for
you.
sharing your knowledge. I know you teach us all the
Yeah,
time, but this is
yeah,
amazing for everyone to
yeah,
understand what you're
yeah,
saying and really
yeah.
apply it in their life. So
That's
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.